Where's everyone from that's on the call?
I'm Brian. I'm from Terrace, BC.
Yeah.
Frank from San Bernardino, Southern California.
Look, Frank. Frank, I think we've exchanged some emails before. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure. Of course. Hey, Allie, good to see you.
This is Tanya Kenner. I'm in Mason County in Washington.
Great. Mason County, where is that exactly?
We are kind of on the southeast part of the peninsula. So we're a little bit southwest of Snohomish, where the story takes place in Snohomish. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Hello, Brian, representing Arizona. Great. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to let Nicole kick things off, but I just wanted to say that as she's speaking, go ahead and start putting your questions in the chat. And then I'll be moderating those and reading them out loud, and we'll address them. So feel free to add those questions throughout this conversation. And now I'll pass it over to Nicole. Thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah, really, I just wanted to start by thanking you all for taking the time to watch our film and for your interest in the project that we're doing here. It's been a labor of love for Bailey and I, and we're finally to the finish line, and it's just great to see people show up and think that this idea that we had might be a good one. So we'd love to hear your feedback about the film. We'd love to hear any questions that you have about how we're going to move forward with this thing. Basically, this meeting is here for you guys to ask whatever burning questions are on your mind about how we're going to move forward in the future.
And Allie, I hate to put you on the spot, but would you mind introducing yourself and just kind of talking about how you're utilizing the film, and that might prompt some ideas or questions from others as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Allie. I'm from Snohomish County. And I also volunteer with Would-Be Search Dogs in Island County. So I became involved with Snohomish County, and then of course we have this fantastic gift from Bailey and Nicole about Nicole's story that happened in 2017. And as they have worked with our organization to remake the film or remake the story and share that, and have developed in this idea of creating it as a gift to search and rescue organizations. I started putting my philanthropy knowledge and nonprofit know-how into trying to find a way to help people not have to reinvent the wheel and make it easier in order to utilize it, because it's a very short window of time before it's going to become available. And then also maybe how to bridge gaps. K9 teams can use this video in ways. There's a lot of other sides of search and rescue that are not portrayed in this, and it's not heavy search and rescue. It's a lot of Nicole's life story. It's a personal interest story, and it's a lovely long film that is an opportunity to show something, and then also maybe tag on something to your own organization so that you can show your community. It's a wonderful way to get together and kind of celebrate search and rescue. And then all these things have come out of the woodwork because we've been reaching out. Maybe some of you have, I know some of you have spoken with me, or I've emailed your team, or we're trying to make this outreach because I'm trying to make something really fun based around this so we can work together and try to utilize it in a positive way. Yeah, just wanting to bridge those gaps. wanting to just help with the opportunity to have philanthropy use of the film. And then in our state, in Washington State, we're really grateful to have Maria Cantwell, who created or really forced through the Search and Rescue National Week in May. And so she is included in some of this endeavor to try to create something more, get this ball rolling, and endorse the movie use and endorse our activities that we're trying to create for our community, so that they can see search and rescue more. So it's a lot of outreach and planning behind the scenes, and a lot that it takes to build a relationship in your own community. And whoever you choose to bring in to see that. We're showing it to our team. We have 500 volunteers on our search and rescue team for Snohomish County, and we're showing it to them for the first time in October. And then we're showing it to anyone else who didn't see it online, or other teams that we've reached out to statewide and nationwide, and up through BC as well. So really exciting. And we've also got outreach into Germany and Australia, a lot of interest there as well. So
Awesome.
I actually brought that up, Allie, about the fact that this isn't about search and rescue, because that was like the most confusing thing to me when we first started doing this. Could ask Bailey. I didn't want to make a story about myself. I wanted to make a story about search and rescue. But it was because you guys were special to me and you were in my heart, and I wanted to show how freaking cool what you do is. And basically what it comes down to is that, unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, right? Like, there are, just an example is, everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, right? Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox, all these people are family household names. And people will spend hundreds of dollars to go see them, but they won't give a $1 donation to search and rescue. That's just the world we live in. People want to be entertained. They want to see a cute girl fall off a mountain. Unfortunately, that's the story they want. And so I'm the shiny hook that's getting dipped in the water, so that you guys can start this conversation, can get people to your fundraising event. And then after they've seen the shiny hook, you can say, hey, this is what we do with our search and rescue organization. By the way, we don't even have a helicopter. All we have is me and Joe Bob, and we're doing our best. So please give us your money. Like, that's kind of the idea behind telling my story versus telling yours. It's basically so that you have the opportunity to tell yours to people who wouldn't normally listen. And I've seen that, unfortunately, with the social media posts. I'm kind of in charge of posting stuff, and I try out different methods. I'll do an inspirational quote, and then I'll do something about search and rescue. And we even have these really awesome, like, super professionally made videos of search and rescue people speaking. And unfortunately, those don't get as many views as the silly inspirational quote does. And that's just because people don't have a connection to you guys yet. Unfortunately, the people that do respond to those videos are search and rescue members. Like, they get it. They want to support those messages getting out there. But in order for us to get the general public more on board with what you do, I think, like, this is what we're seeing is going to work for you guys. So that's kind of how we came up with this idea.
Yeah. Thank you, Nicole, for bringing that up, because I know we have seen in some of the comments a little bit of disappointment that the film is not as search and rescue focused. And so, we hate to see that, but we want to communicate that that's actually the intention, in order to get you all more attention and bring in people that are not aware of you. And then you can craft an event around all this new population that you haven't yet tapped into for awareness recruiting, by then adding a panel discussion with your team, or a Q&A or whatever. So, okay, we've got some questions coming in. Thank you, everyone. So Taya, if that's how Taya Ashcraft, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is there a specific theater you guys have had access with getting to show the film, or how are you accommodating so many people watching at a time? I have a feeling that's a question for Snohomish, but I will also just talk about the marketing package that we'll be providing, which will include some guidance about how to reach out to your local theater. And we're kind of in the process of learning that because we're hosting some friends and family screenings in North Bend and Seattle. And all these small local theaters have different processes. They accept different file formats. They all charge different rates. So we're trying to start to gather that information so that we can put that together in our marketing package, which we'll talk more about in a second. I see, Frank, you had some questions about that. But Allie, do you want to talk about your experience with the theater you're utilizing?
Yeah, sure. It actually is really interesting. There's a lot of work of reaching out to all these theaters, and then they have packages for nonprofits and everything. And then I was like, boy, it was a little expensive. It was like, $1,000 here or a couple $1,000, that was way too much for trying to see if we could get the community together, and usually smaller venues. So then we started thinking, movie in the park, and there's lots of inflatable movie screens and rentals, and those aren't too expensive. And there were arenas and ballparks, and we were going down that road, and I brought it up at a board meeting, and all of a sudden, because I don't live in Snohomish County, I actually live an hour and 20 minutes away. So all of a sudden, all these people came up with all these ideas. There were churches, there were fire departments, there were all kinds of halls and opportunities. And then the biggest thing we found was one of our school districts actually owns a huge theater in Everett, and it seats 1,500 people, and they have a really inexpensive rate for nonprofits. And so we worked with them to come up with the date. And so that's how we were successful to do this one event. And then now we're going to continue to kind of go from there and have smaller events with donors, and specifically after we do this kind of dry run with search and rescue. So there's lots of really cool opportunities. Like I said, I'm trying to also help Bailey and Nicole to create kind of a like how to. I'm going to do a video format as well, so that it'll be available so nobody has to really reinvent the wheel. And I'll be available for outreach, because I absolutely have been working a lot on this for a few months now, where you're all just starting and trying to do it in about the same timeline by the time April comes around. So, but yeah, lots of things about nonprofits, or if you're not a nonprofit yet and you can utilize fiscal sponsors, there's lots of opportunities and things that might be, we might need to help you a la carte kind of figure that out, or see what fits your organization or what you're trying to do. So.
Thank you, Allie. And we got a question from Frank. Will there be a starter pack for using this as a fundraiser? Maybe some canned language to use for a flyer, press release, etc. Yes, definitely. So our plan is we are working on this marketing package. As Allie mentioned, she's going through it all right now and gathering notes. And so the goal is 6 months prior to the event, which is in April 2024 for National Volunteer Week, we're going to deliver this package. So this is going to include, newsletters, email templates, social media posts, press release, everything that we can, guidance on how to reach out to your local theater. And if there's things we're missing, because the thing is, we're not experts in this field. We made this film, and our original intention was to hand it off to Search and Rescue and, say good luck. And we got a lot of feedback of people saying, we don't know what to do with this film. So now we're taking the initiative to try and figure out how to best set you all up. But yeah, again, we're not experts. So please let us know what you need, and we can work on getting that. And then what was it? Oh, I was going to say, so that package is going to be released 6 months prior to the event. So in November, but up until that, now is the time to really start thinking about, do you want to do an in-person event? Do you want to do a virtual event? Starting to recruit members about who do you want to help market that event, who's going to help run the event, take tickets, maybe be in a Q&A panel, things like that. So you really want to start thinking about this prior to when we deliver the marketing package. Another question, will there be some graphics that we can share and include on our promotional material? Yes, definitely. So, something that might be helpful for us is, do you want a graphic or two before that 6 months? Something to consider. Another question, will there be a central movie website with links to participating teams? Yes. So one of the questions in our host a screening questionnaire, some of you have filled that out, is do you give us permission to put your chapter website, chapter name on our website? Because our goal is to have a huge list of chapters that are participating on our website. Frank, when you asked that question, were you saying like a separate website that would be just for this event, or something like in addition to our website?
I think it would be just running off of your website. I'm assuming, there's your website and a little bit about section, and then maybe find a screening near you button with links to all of our teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And as you say that, it makes me think, because right now our website is pretty search and rescue focused, because our goal is to, of course, get as many of you on board as we can. But I think we'll probably pivot to then make it more viewer focused once you are on board, then attracting people to those events.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for your questions. Tanaya Kenner, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for your kind words about the film. Awesome. Do you have a way to help gauge public interest prior to showing the film? So that's something that we're experimenting and learning about. Because the thing is, so this is obviously it's a personal story, it's an action film, it's an accident film, and focused on this outdoor activity. So, one thing we're experimenting is rock climbing gyms. Like, that's a great way to advertise, is go to your local rock climbing gym. Maybe your local university has some outdoor wilderness programs, do some outreach to the schools. So just figuring out how you can tap into those networks to get them to your event. Because, before, social media was a way to do that. But now, like, I don't know about everyone's experience, but Facebook isn't as powerful as it used to be. And Instagram has kind of shifted in the people that it's tapping into. So, we need to get creative with different ways to get butts and seats.
Yeah, if I could give a little bit of 2 cents on that as well. One of the things we're doing is we took the top 200 businesses in our county, and we reached out. We've taken initiative to each community that has, like a Chamber of Commerce, looking at speaking at their gatherings that they have monthly. They usually have all the businesses there to talk to business owners, to get them to come and see it. It's just reaching out to different groups. We're going to the county fair. We're going to be handing out flyers about the movie so that they can link to our website to come find out about that. Things like that, just doing outreach. And we also have outreach on at least one weekend a month, where we go out to some of the high traffic trails, and we hand out information there, as well as like promoting our plan for the future with showing the movie and trying to get public interest. So there's a lot of ways that you can maybe get other people in the door, because that's one of the biggest problems. We have wonderful, incredible annual donors, and it's always the same folks, but we're trying to broaden that and change that. You can go to banks and, probably, or anybody else that's having a big event, like go to those events. A lot of times they have nonprofit booths at big fairs or local art festivals. Those are definitely ways to do outreach and getting a big diverse crowd. So those are my recommendations.
I think the coolest thing about this is that we have power in numbers. There's going to be more and more search and rescue chapters signing on to do this, and word of mouth advertisement sounds old school, but that's the thing that really works. So not only are Bailey and I going to be advertising like crazy for the film, every search and rescue chapter that signs on will be too, and hopefully that momentum will build and just coalesce perfectly for everyone to get a benefit out of this event that we have next year.
And there's another question. What is the runtime? Oh, perfect. 60 to 70 minutes. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, runtime of the film is 60 to 70, which is really great for adding on additional events, for adding on a panel, a Q&A, even a workshop. I learned from Search and Rescue about the 12 hiking essentials. Is that what it is? That Snohomish did a blog post? 10 hiking essentials. And I was like, that was so enlightening because I had not been following those. So even like, maybe you pair it with a little educational course or something like that. And so these are the ideas that we are going to offer in the marketing package. And thank you. And see what resonates with your chapter.
It's okay if you have 12 essentials. Nobody's going to judge you.
More is better sometimes, Bailey.
There was a question from our from the film screening questionnaire. Nicole, on the rappel that resulted in the fall, there was no progress capture device like a Prusik being used in addition to the rappel device? Question mark.
Yes, there was no Prusik being used. Basically at that point in time, there just hadn't, the Prusik had been invented, but everyone was climbing on an ATC. There weren't any critters or anything that you could add friction on quickly. And we were being told in Class C canyons that you should never use a Prusik because you could get yourself underneath a waterfall and drown. So the only safety we had was this fireman belay that we were using, and there was a lot of rock fall on this specific rappel and dangerous to stand down below, slippery, unprotected area. And judging by the way things had gone the earlier part of the day, everything was going really smooth, and I had 8 times to practice. So everyone felt very confident, including me, that was going to be okay. And obviously it wasn't.
I will just chime into that last question. It was asked about clarifying if we've used the film yet for Snohomish County and how much have we raised. We haven't used the film yet. We were given the opportunity to utilize the film sooner than everyone else, obviously, because it was our organization. It's our way of helping other people figure out how they can utilize it as well. So we're running that event in October, and we're getting a lot of interest. And it's actually building recruitment already we're getting more SAR volunteers because of it. Just bringing it up, and there's a lot of interest, and we're getting a lot of questions. And I'm between part of the event is hosting a camp out, and we've invited Search and Rescue. So if you haven't gotten the invitation, please know that you're invited and reach out to me through that email. I'm happy to include you if you want to get up to Washington. But October 6th, 7th, and 8th is the weekend that we're doing this. And we have 400 camping slots, and we're hosting we're going to try to do some collaborative training. We're involving obviously other counties. We have BC, like I said, coming down, and Juneau, Alaska was possibly going to attend, last I heard. So just neat opportunities for us to not be having to figure out collaborative searching methods when we're in the middle of an actual mission, which has almost been all of the cases for us. So it would be nice to have these opportunities to share resources. And then we've already done some outreach for giveaways. So there's companies that have supported us in this, and they're giving us donation items so that we can make raffle baskets and things like that. And there are large corporations that are willing to support, especially if you reach to your local area. And there's importance to that. If you're overlapping other counties, I would definitely use caution or work together on that. That's something that's important. We all need to share in this, because if I reach over to another county's resource, I guess, and utilize it and not share that with them. I think that would be kind of not fair. So those kind of things that we're doing, and it's becoming very positive so far. And I definitely will be sharing that experience and what we're doing with everyone so that you have the opportunity to, not make the mistakes that we've made, or like there's some struggles. There's outreach we've done that we didn't know other people have already done it, or things like that. And it's sort of like egg on our face if we didn't know. And you want to be grateful to people if they've already contributed. So so there's lots to share with you all, and we will have run the film and have a public viewing before your April timeline. So you'll have that experience to be shared with.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Allie, for sharing all of that. I wanted to add on that even though Snohomish has not shown the film yet, we have been posting about the film in their yearly newsletter, and they have been using that as their asking campaign. So there are ways that they've been making money off the film, even though the film hasn't even been seen yet or even been used as a fundraising event. So there are ways that you can kind of really tap into your audience and start telling them about this event that you have coming up and get them excited about it, as well as ask them for money at the same time to help you get this thing going. So they've been really, I attended a lot of philanthropy committee meetings for Snohomish County, and what I hear is like last year was the biggest donation year that they had, and it was just me writing up a little bit about how much search and rescue means to me, and because of my accident. So those are things that you guys can replicate in your own newsletters, sending out, an inspirational story of someone that you guys rescued, and just attaching.
Yeah, we used it for Giving Tuesday, and it was really positive. And now we're going to be able to then continue that relationship with those donors and invite them to this large viewing. I also wanted to say that if anyone has a chance to check out the Rocky Talkie Awards, that was something that was open to anybody to apply for. Lots of teams applied, and the 3 teams that won the award were highlighted through videos that were done about those rescues. And those are fantastic opportunities for them to bridge the gap between the movie and their own story as well. And as we've been doing in Snohomish County, trying to create videos for each team to show a little bit about what each one does. And Bailey counseled us that you can just do that with your smartphones and some editing, some really inexpensive to almost free editing software that you could tie into the movie to kind of create what is your big story. You don't have to have a film team, but that could be another way to make a little 5 to 6 minute short film at the end that shows your own team's highlight of one of your most incredible stories. So.
And that just sparked an idea, Allie, is like, that's definitely something that we can include in this marketing package, is how to, because, making a video, it's intimidating if you've never done it before, but there are so many tools out there. And the iPhone is just as good and way easier than a lot of high quality cameras, not just as good, but to the average eye, it is just as good. And so, that's something that we can definitely include in the marketing package. And then Nicole, you also sparked another idea of how to relate this film to your county, is maybe bring in people that your county has rescued and have them speak. So then, it's like you're watching this inspirational film of Nicole's rescue, and then this is how this relates to your particular county. So there's all kinds of different ways to get creative. And so we're going to supply you with the baseline of what to do, and then, you can build it up from there. Another question here. Will you be sharing ideas about how to present calls to action surrounding a virtual presentation? By that, do you mean like how to add other elements on top of a virtual screening?
I mean, like ways to best frankly ask for money. And then how best to link to opportunities to do that, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that will be another scenario where with a virtual screening, instructing you how to record that call to action and how to include it within that screening so it plays immediately after the film. And we're going to work on finding a platform to where that is really can easily be added. And then because yeah, a personal message is always the most inspirational, and then figuring out how to embed your donation link. And so that's something that we'll do like on the technical side and provide that information. Which kind of leads me to another side point is that we won't be collecting any money for the event at all. All of the money will go directly to your chapters. So we'll instruct you on how to the QR code is a great way to do that, but you'll need to have some kind of system set up to intake donations, and then we'll figure out how to make that visible for all of the viewers. Nicole, do you have anything to add as far as like the call to action for virtual
Yeah,
school?
I mean, I think like the more you talk about this, the more overwhelming it feels. It gives me anxiety to just think about all the things that have to happen before something like this happens. And our job on our end is to make you a step-by-step checklist, and we can go through each check item and we can kind of, form a community where we're all kind of doing this at the same time, and we can talk about the problems we're having and offer each other feedback and just make it this a community thing so that we don't feel like we're out there hanging out there by ourselves and trying to make something big like this happen, because it is a big process to have a fundraising event, and we're going to need your feedback on the things that you're having problems with so that we can make this marketing package better for you and help work out the kinks. So but yeah, we plan on having basically a basic virtual event checklist and a kind of in-person event checklist and every little thing that you would need, and we are counting on you guys to help provide feedback on the things that you need. We'll switch you out with, these are the first steps. And the first steps that Bailey and I can see and is that first you have to decide if you want to do a virtual or an in-person event, and then see, who you have to utilize on your team to help you make that happen. And then once you figure that out, then we can start getting you the next steps on what we should do,
Mhm.
I would
And
say, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you can lean on your local leadership in your communities as well, or event planners. Like every team looks different, so it's hard to say what your event might look like right now. But like including firefighters, the whole reason why they're holding it on the National Volunteer Week is because a lot of teams, like in Island County, we're very small. We're just canine handlers, and we rely on the firefighters to go do the actual like recovery or rescue portions, and they have their ropes teams and stuff, right? And then but Snohomish County, they operate everything to include a helicopter. So it's each team is unique and might have different resources within, and then might have different resources in your community that you can tap into. So again, I'm happy to help. I've definitely been doing all of this already, so hopefully I can help answer questions. So please do email me, and I'm happy to help you kind of figure out your ideas as you're moving forward.
And our next step is actually to start a Facebook group. So everyone is going to get an email with the link of that to join. And this is where we can have that collaboration, and questions can be asked, ideas can be presented. Allie, you can post about your progress and your learnings. When we have a social package post, for example, or a social package, we'll post that for everyone to access. And also, if there's anyone here with, marketing experience, nonprofit experience, fundraising experience that is inspired by our mission and wants to be a part of, your county's event, but also this whole international event. We are taking volunteers, and we would love whatever help anyone wants to offer.
Yeah, you guys haven't touched on, I don't know how much more has come with the, I don't know if I should talk about it yet, but the event in California, does that actually still rolling forward?
Well, they're having their event. I think we missed the ball on that.
Okay, so they weren't going to show the film.
Yeah, they're too far along in the process now to kind of change gears and include us in that. But it's kind of crazy the interest we're getting in this film, guys. Ali's talking about this event that's being held at Kevin Costner's house, with Oprah Winfrey in attendance and Ellen DeGeneres, and they're somehow learned about our film, and they're just so sad that they're too far along in their process and they can't show part of the film because they're doing a fundraising event. I guess they have done this every year for the last 5 years. So it's just crazy what kind of attention film gets is what I'm saying. And so we're really hoping that that's going to transfer over. We're having conversations with big people like, marketing directors of Patagonia, and just, it's crazy who you can get to pick up the phone when you have the word film or, feature length documentary or something like that. People will pick up the phone because they think that's a great marketing opportunity for their organization. So we're seeing that on our end, and you're about to see it on yours if you guys reach out. It's really interesting.
And that's another avenue we're pursuing as well. This is kind of a side tangent outside of the search and rescue event, but organizations that are interested in hosting an event, we're encouraging them to bring in their local search and rescue chapter so that their organization and their audience can learn about what that SAR organization offers.
Yeah, one thing that we had happen this week was CMC decided to sponsor the film, and they want to host a screening, and they want to attach a local search and rescue organization onto their screening and have donations go to that specific organization. So these kind of things just kind of organically happen as organizations here, and they all want to kind of be a part of it in some way. So we'll get more and more ideas as we move forward and learn more about ways that we can maybe capitalize on this film project.
Yeah, sometimes once you break in those doors, you start to make other networked connections, which has been some of what you have found, and it's been really incredible. There are other outreach I've done by doing it for our own event, to ask companies to think about creative ways of including the film. And I even reached out to Alaska Airlines here in Seattle to see if they would show it on their onboard flight with their opportunities that they have, because they usually host movies or entertainment that is specific to the area where you're flying to. So what a neat, diverse group to maybe show that to. So we're working on things like that, which will also spread that broader reach.
And Ali, as you're speaking, it kind of made me think, because we've gotten this comment before too in other Q&A sessions of chapters saying, because Snohomish is a large chapter that has a lot of great resources, and there's other chapters that don't have as many volunteers or quite as many resources. And so maybe it would be helpful for us to structure the package in like 2 or 3 different tiers, like tier 1 being very minimal amount of team members or resources, tier 3 being the ability to really scale up, and how to tackle those, because those are 2 very different kinds of events. So if that is something that would be helpful, then please let us know.
Yeah, and one of the other things we've had difficulty with is really kind of taking away the skepticism from people. Like I've literally had conversations with people who have been scammed from other films, or they just don't believe in this as a positive thing. And I don't know how they don't believe in that, right? So just trying to bridge those gaps, or trying to take away those misnomers, and I mean, the whole thing is free. And so like, I just keep trying to do outreach. I get crickets sometimes, I get hell no sometimes, I get, wow, what a cool thing. And then I have great conversations with leadership from different teams and helping people. So, and, teams I don't see on here tonight, but it's becoming a thing. And I think it's going to take time. It really takes a lot of time for that word of mouth to happen. So I think that'll also help all of us as we get more inclusive of other teams, other understanding, and other people's experiences.
Would you all, because our plan has always been to release this big marketing package 6 months in advance. Do you all have a preference of, receiving everything at once, or more so just as we're completing it, and maybe it's actually like we're delivering iterations and we deliver how to contact your local theater, but then maybe you all have questions off of that? Like what would be the best process? All at once, says Trey. As completing, ooh, 2 different answers. Okay. Yeah, I think that's something we'll have to experiment with, because it does take a long, I mean, it depends on, some organizations might try and seek out sponsors to do more with their event. That's not necessary though. And so it's like, there's so many different avenues. You could try and seek out sponsors, but there's also the avenue of like, just getting butts and seats and marketing the event. And both of those avenues take a lot of work and also a lot of time to get the ball rolling. So, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I mean, different chapters have different resources, different size teams that everyone will do it a little differently. So we'll just keep learning.
Haley and I were talking today that it would be nice if one of the side effects of this film project would be to kind of build a community for you guys, because it does seem like you're all kind of siloed in your own little world, and you're all needing the same kind of things. And it'd just be great if you guys could share information with each other, and not feel like you're out there by yourselves trying to reinvent the wheel all the time. So that's one of the reasons why we thought this Facebook group would be great. I mean, it's going to be great for the film project for sure, because I think you guys can share all of your information there. And there's going to be, if one person is having this struggle, the odds are multiple people are having this struggle. I mean, we can figure it out together, but then also hopefully there's going to be some great kinships that are built out of all this too, and relationships that weren't there before, and who knows what that will do for search and rescue. So that's awesome.
So that invite for the Facebook group will go out tomorrow. And so again, what I was saying earlier, start putting those feelers out for who else in your chapter you want to bring along to help host this event, and invite them into the group.
So I just want to answer that question about if we're selling tickets to our event a little bit more clearly. One is in our event in October, because we invited outside teams, we invited our own teams, donors, and community leaders. We actually asked for sponsorship through different businesses to cover the cost, so that it's essentially not going to cost us much. But what we're doing is developing those relationships further with our donors. And because it's within a month of our annual asking campaign for annual donation. We're kind of holding with what we normally do. And then we're going to launch more of like open to community, where it's a bigger fundraiser with more like a gala event with raffles and things like that, and cost of the tickets. Possibly, we hadn't really like gone that direction yet. It depends on the October event. But because we are actually doing $1 million capital campaign for our organization. So it's very different than just like, oh, doing some fundraising, but I think it could be very lucrative and just fundraising alone. And this is more for us, we're building a different kind of relationship with our community because we're asking for larger donors in the future.
Frank, I love this question. Frank says, there are plenty of great stories in SAR, sometimes tragic. If this goes well, would you consider tackling another story that perhaps has a different flavor? I mean, that would be great. It all comes down to funding, because so Nicole and I have been working on this for almost 6 years now and have funded the majority of it on our own. And films are very expensive to make. And I think I've exhausted all of my filmmaking contacts for being volunteers on our shoot. So, I mean, yeah, there are so many great stories to tell, and hopefully this film will get enough attention to where we're given that opportunity to continue telling these stories.
I have a lot of days of like, I don't know what I got myself into. But I think like everybody, sometimes you're part of an organization, you don't really know how to fundraise. And it's difficult. It's difficult to go out and ask for money, and you can only, take big sales so far, or whatever, door to door. It doesn't really work anymore. People don't do outreach the same as they used to. So I think one is developing that. We have opportunities to outreach as search and rescue at trailheads, wherever you have your most popular sites. Get out there. The National Night Out, it just happened. That's a great opportunity next year to kindle those relationships. There's touch a truck events that you could even launch within your community, the start of school in September, or some people are already starting. So get to those schools, go shake hands with the kids in your whatever your gear is, ask to come speak at schools and talk to the kids, and do it on family nights. Like, they're always looking for people to come and talk about what they do. And you can show, gosh, I've pulled up CalTopo maps of searches that we carefully worked on the graphics and stuff, so people can see, like, they're so interested in what we do. And also, senior community centers, they're always looking for people to come, and they are just blown away by the thought that we actually have tracking devices or ways to help with their family members who have dementia and walk away, or that they've never understood the opportunities that they had to make their lives more comfortable, that they don't ever have to be afraid in the middle of the night when their family member has walked off, that they know what to do. It's empowering. So many cool opportunities to go do outreach, and I probably think of 1 million more, and there's not enough of me to go around to do all the things. So it's the like building the relationship within your organization, build the relationships within your community with those leadership opportunities, other big organizations that can help you, and then go from there. But this movie is a great way to come together, even, right? If you just show it as that, just to come together to develop that relationship. That's what we're doing in October. And then we're launching $1 million capital campaign. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this Facebook group and for us to be able to all collaborate and be more connected, because we've been a bit siloed. And like, as Ali mentioned, we've gotten even some pushback from Search and Rescue and being really skeptical of us, which is really hard with, just all the work that's gone into this. And so to be a big team together and be going through this, I think is going to be really fun. exciting. And we also don't want this to be intimidating. Like, we are going to continue, you know, we're going to take on a lot of the work and provide you what you need. But we'll be able to do that better with your question asking and your feedback and all of that.
Sometimes the first step is just getting through your board. So bring popcorn and movie candy. That worked for my board. So when I asked them for permission to do this, then they were like, oh, and as they're munching on their popcorn, it worked really well. So
That's perfect.
Truffle salt. The key. Thank you, everyone. Any final questions?
Oh, I just wanted to share that Bailey and I are constantly having conversations with people. We have meetings all week long, with just, you know, people that may be interested in the film, people that could potentially, you know, offer us some words of wisdom. And as we connect with people, we'd love to invite them to be guest speakers if they have some really interesting information to share with you guys about their take on fundraising, or, you know, just ways that you guys could benefit from the film moving forward. So we're hoping that the Facebook group will be a place for you guys to collaborate, but also like a place where we can have guest speakers and share information and have live workings that, you know, classes together maybe once a month or something on certain topics or whatever, you know. So always feel free to reach out and give us ideas of things that you want more information on, and we'll try to cater to that.
Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. It's so nice. Also, Nicole, this just sparked an idea. But you know, because we've been thinking about this Facebook group as Where the Rope Ends dedicated. But I'm curious if we should brand it as just like search and rescue fundraising collaboration. With, you know, this event being right now is the main focus and getting everyone ready for that. But one thing that we've been surprised by as we've gone on this journey is that there really isn't a, you know, one entity that communicates to all of your chapters, one overarching organization. And so would that be helpful, is to have an ongoing resource to be connected to other chapters and, you know, learn fundraising tips and recruiting tips?
Think of what's something that would live on after the film, you know, and still be a resource for everybody to use. Would be great.
Frank, you asked, will you be attending any screenings in April? Oh, I see. We're not sure how to, so we don't have an answer for that yet, how to structure where we'll be, just because there'll be a lot of screenings going on at that time. But we'll get back to you.
I would love to go to them if I could. I've got to keep a roof over my head and go to work sometime in between now and then. But if I can attend some, I would love to. I don't know how it's all gonna work out. I'll see. Maybe there could be a way to make it happen.
We need to clone Nicole. Thank you, Taya, for your comment. I'm going to read this out loud because I really want the folks that are unsure of, you know, how this film applies to their chapter, or that it isn't a search and rescue film. Like, hopefully Taya's comment can provide some inspiration, but she says, I think this is an awesome way to bridge the gap between the search and rescue community and everyone else who may not be as passionate / familiar / interested in search and rescue. Everyone can relate to being in a scary situation, and learning that there are people who volunteer to put themselves in danger to get others to safety can have a big impact. So thank you for sharing that. Before this project, I had no idea that search and rescue was volunteer, but I learned because I was drawn into Nicole's engaging accident story. So we're hoping, this film can have the same effect on others just like that.
Any last burning questions before everyone goes and eats their dinner? You can expect to hear from us through email very soon with the link to whatever Facebook group we create. The name of it be determined.
Yeah.
And next steps are just really for you guys to think realistically about whether or not you want to do an in-person versus a virtual event, and just start reaching out to people on your team and seeing how many takers you get to help you with this project. And then we'll kind of move forward from there.
Thank you, everyone. I feel very motivated from your kind words to keep moving on.
Oh, for so long, it's just been Bailey and me trying to figure this out. And then
Beating our heads
Allie
against.
joined us, so we're like, yes.
Yeah.
And now we've got all of
Allie.
you guys. So
I have one last question.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that most of my leadership has been able to see this film. Is there going to be another opportunity, a link or something, so that leadership maybe that missed the chance during the week that it was available, that they can see this before deciding if it's something that we want to move forward on?
Yes, we need to figure out the specifics. Just because, as you all saw, like, we have to be really sensitive with the link. But yeah, we'll definitely, if your leadership team needs to see it, we'll figure out a way to get that to them. So we'll report back on what that will look like. Yes. Yes, that's correct. So we do have that next private screening for search and rescue only planned for October 29th through November 5th, which will be in the same format as what we just did. And then we could potentially, maybe we'll take it on a case-by-case basis if someone's leadership team needs to see the film. Right now, just reach out. But otherwise, yes, we will have another test screening, at the end of October. Or they can go to Snohomish.
Yeah. So many ways. Great.
I heard our food truck's gonna serve taco bar the first night, so I
All
mean,
right. That was one of the most spectacular things. I'm laying in the hospital and my friends that were with me during the accident, they come in telling me stories about this food truck that was in the parking lot after they climbed their way out of Black Canyon. And they were there at midnight with hot coffee and food. Just another volunteer for Snohomish County, an amazing resource that they have for their community. And a really popular lady that was that food truck.
yep, they're schlepping breakfast burritos at 3 a.m. They're
Wow.
happy to do it, and it's wonderful.
Great.
I am not, as far as I know, related to Ellen Doan in Utah. Maybe I am. There aren't a lot of people in Utah that I know. Have to meet her.
All right. Well, I think we're about at time. That hour went fast. So thank you, everyone. And you'll be getting an email with an invite to the Facebook group tomorrow. And so please forward that on to other members in your chapter. And don't hesitate to reach out via email, which is on our website, if you have any questions in the meantime.
Yeah, or ideas or suggestions. We would love any feedback that you guys have. We're here to try to make this easier for you. So let us know how we can do that for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You
How do I-
sure?
Here, Bailey.
Um, I'll get back to you on that. We will figure that out. But we do want to do a new design too, because we have a scene. Oh, well, a lot of you have probably seen it. When Nicole's talking about burning her couch on the front yard, and there's that really cool graphic of the couch on fire. So we've been talking about turning that into a t-shirt as well.
Special edition where they're open t-shirt.
Mhm.
Akin to the dumpster fire that usually happens in life.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up though. That's helpful to know that people might want those, so we can look into that for sure. Yeah, so many ideas, so little time. So true. Great. Well, thank you everyone. This was awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for being here tonight and for what you do for your community. You're just so appreciated. Really. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Enjoy your dinner. Bye everyone.